Hello friends and fellow phytomaniacs, Alex here, and today I want to show you how I plant bare root lithops. I received these actually as a gift when I ordered some seed packets, and so it came like this. And look at this cute little ceramic thing here, ladybugs, and it looks like they gone ahead and they wrapped it up, I guess 2 at a time. So these are lithops that needs to go into soil, and these are bare root. As you can see, I don't typically, I've never ordered bare root because I really don't like to. I like them come in soil. But being that these were a gift, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I plant these and give them the best chance that they have at success. And so let's see how many of these I got, because it looks like there's quite a bit here. And because I bought the seed kits, and I'm doing that for my virtual classroom, so I guess you wanted to make sure that in case they don't germinate as well, that I have something to share and how these grow. So this will be like I'll give regular updates on these, but they are wrapped pretty good and they look pretty good. Let me see here. And some of them have a longer root than others. As you notice, this one here is very cute. And this next one here actually has a shorter root, but this is very interesting. Just remember these actually live in deserts and Africa. You can find these in Africa, and they actually survive, and their mechanism for survival is to look like rocks, and so that they're not destroyed. And so the green ones are actually a little more rare than the brown ones that look like stones. And look at this one. This one's already starting to I guess de-leaf itself, because these tops, the brown parts, are leaves, and when a new plant comes through, it actually rejects them. And here's another one. Wow, okay. But usually the center are usually bigger, and it doesn't come up like this, but the leaves, the brown part of it actually folds over and shrinks back. But this is very interesting. And here's another green one. And how many are there? There is 11 of them. So let's see how many of them survive. But that, the one with the little plant coming through already is going to be tricky, I would think. And I've never seen it like that out of the soil. So this would be interesting. And I did prepare my soil already. And what I did was I took 50% of succulent and cactus mix, and I also added some sand and pumice. And I left one of them with less pumice and more sand to see how it works out. And so these are all similar mediums, and now I have this water, and I'm going to moisten it so that way it's easier to plant. And also, I'm not going to be watering these for at least a week, if at all, at this time. And so I want to make sure that there is some moisture here, so they could start sucking up some water here. And usually when they're starting to shed its leaf, you don't want to water, but being that they're bare root, I think I should do that. And so we'll see. As you notice the difference, the one on the right has less pumice and more sand. The one on the left and all the other three actually have more pumice in them. And so what I do is I just take a stick like this, and this actually comes as a kit that I bought, and I just dig a hole just like this. And also you want it wet, because otherwise the hole will cover itself right away. So I'm going to take this one here, and I'm going to plant it by itself, I think, and see how it does in this soil, because I think this one here, I just have a feeling it'll have a better chance with this one, and I just hope that these survive. And so what I do is I stick it in there, and then I covered the rest of it to give it some stability so it stands up until the roots start taking hold of the soil underneath. And normally, if it was a full-grown lithop, I wouldn't put so much soil in there. I would probably do 80% of more of a rocks and pumice and like lava rocks and things like that, and sand, and 20% soil. But these are just still, babies. So I want to make sure that they have a way of absorbing nutrients. And you do need it a little bit more soil-like when they're babies. And same as when when you're doing seedlings, which I will show you once I get back from vacation, I guess. And I do have a set of seedlings going now that I received as a kit. But anyway, so I'm just going to stick this in here and make sure I cover it up. And I'll tell you, working with the gritty mix, which is a little more grit than soil, it's a little bit more difficult to create the hole, because you want to make sure that there's a place where you can kind of stick that in there. And when you have too many rocks, and big rocks like this, I should have probably broken down a little more the pumice. But yeah, it's okay. It's a little bit harder to actually create the hole and for it to hold. With the soil, it's easier. That's why I moistened it. So let's see, since I have 11, should I put more in there? I think I will. Yeah, let's pick something that would kind of go. And the thing is, I like to try to pick the ones in the same stage of growth, because if they're in the same pot and if it's in a different stage of growth, sometimes you can't water it. Okay, depending, but I think these are still young enough where it's probably going to have the same care. And once it grows, I will repot them into their own little pots. But for now, I'll just put them in a multiple, because I don't want to put 11 different pots, and I'm not even really sure they're all going to survive. So let's see. And the important thing is, when you put these in there, you need to make sure that you don't bend over the roots. So you want to make the hole a little bit deep, so that way you can just dip it in there. But unfortunately, these roots are coming curled up, and I don't want to force straighten it, because I'm afraid I'll snap the roots, because they are quite dry. And that's another reason why I don't like bare roots. Yeah, because you see how this is really hard, and I have to try to straighten it without breaking it, and that gets a little bit tricky, but it's going to curl up somewhat anyway. But yeah, just stick that in there and do the best I can with it. It keeps curling up, but it's all right. And in this case, this is why I want to grow them from seedlings. I do have some incubating right now, and there's actually, I think, 12 plants that's coming up, but they're so small. They're the size of a grain of sand, so they're barely hard to see. But when it does grow a little more, I will update you guys, and as well as I will update you with this one. And let's see. Yeah, I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to go, so I have to make some room here. And as I sink these in here, I want to make sure I don't damage the leaves, and I'm trying not to touch the top of them, because I don't want it to pick up my oils on my hand. I should be doing this actually with gloves on, but my hands are clean, and I wash it before I started this piece here. So yeah, just if you can wear gloves, do wear gloves. I just didn't think about it, and it's hard for me to manipulate things with the gloves that I have. So yeah. And also, as far as the history of these, like I said, they do grow in South Africa and Africa. They live kind of like in a desert. And when they actually, how they propagate is that once it shoots out the flowers, and the flowers have to pollinate. And so that way the seeds become viable. And when they get like a real big rain that comes down, like very rarely, it actually spreads the seed that way. And then they start to grow from there. And so that'll be kind of interesting. And I do have one that's already splitting, and I'm hoping that sooner or later it'll flower, so I can show you. I can, manually pollinate them. But these guys, I'm hoping it works out. And like I said, the whole point is to try to get these to survive in the meanwhile, while I plant the other ones. But it's pretty interesting, and I want to make sure I get enough soil here. I'm kind of stealing from this other pot. But yeah, and I think having to do it over again, I think I would do less pumice and more sand. And so, because I'm having to mix it up really good, so that way it stays. And sand is a lot easier to work with, and it's the same thing, does the same thing. But I like this space created by the pumice, so that way there is the root can be near it and not get soaked, and it drains easily. This is a reason why I use this gritty type of mixture. But this is not considered completely gritty mix, because gritty mix is usually with no organic matter, and I do have soil here which is organic. And gritty mix is usually like volcanic rock, sand, decomposed granite, and that's what I will use for a more mature plant. But babies do need moisture, and it needs to be able to have water when they're this little. So yeah, that's hopefully these do well. So that's it. I have all of those little babies in the pot, and as I said, I will update you and let you know how they do. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, and please have a good day, and Remember to bloom where you're planted. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.